So what would you like to explore?
Well, I thought there was lots of different things, so it was drilling down and deciding which one to go for. But I thought it would be really useful to kind of look at, because I've been in academia now for 4 years. I've moved from a learning and development, human resource development practitioner role, and in the organization. And since I've joined, it's been a different experience in terms of moving from practice to academia. So it's been a period of transition. And although I've been here for 4 years and really I should be quite grounded in the academic role now, there are lots of things both in my personal family life and the work here. I sometimes find it, they don't really align very well to some of my values and things like that. So this is, sometimes it's kind of having to realign myself from time to time, which I've struggled with, particularly this year. So I thought maybe that's something I could explore with you a little bit more.
Okay, so let's start with this issue of values then.
Mm-hmm.
What are the values that you feel are being compromised, if that's the right word,
Mm-hmm.
Through the work that you're doing?
Well, I suppose for one of the things which is very core to me is about this kind of culturally. I'm from a culture when it's not really about myself; it's always been about other people. So I'm fully aware that one of my, if you like, weaknesses is I never really say anything about myself very much. So I'll never be able to sell myself. And luckily I've always moved from one job to another and I've got there, but I almost don't know how, because if somebody said to me, oh, what do you do? I'd just say, I just don't like talking about it very much, because culturally that's been grounded in me. Like, it's not about talking about myself. So selling myself, I'm really not very good at. And I think here, it's very much about individual identity, what people are doing, what they're writing about, what their expertise is. So I think that's the way I see it. That's a very core value here for individuals, which is in a way slightly different, because I find quite difficult to talk about those things, and I'd rather not if I didn't have to. So that's one of the things. The other thing is in a way the work-life balance. I do try and manage it, because I think I've been in working practice for a long time. I've learned to prioritize, and I'm really clear that I'm not going to I have a very busy family life. I'm very much involved in my community. I do lots of different things, and I will try my best to manage it. Sometimes that's a struggle, because I think another thing is within academic world, sometimes you're preparing or you're writing a paper and it can, go over to weekends and things like that. And I have to put a lot of energy in, and sometimes the expectation is you do it. And that's very difficult for me, because at a very practical level, my weekends, I don't just sit at home. I'm out, or I'm doing other things, or I'm running sessions on, our sort of Gita classes, which is our spiritual studies. So I do lots of other things, and I'm involved with several community work. So I'm busy doing other stuff. And by the time I finish my work here on a Friday, I've kind of not thought about work till I go back to my desk on Monday. And it's not because I don't want to. I've just got other things happening, which keeps me very busy. And I suppose the other thing is, there's a lot of importance about, publishing papers, getting your name on this, getting your name on that. And again, that culturally, it is important in the job that I've taken on, but at a personal level, at a value level, I always question it. Is that important, where I get my name published here or there or not? Is that important in my bigger life? When I'm now, we've talked about age today, so I'm going to be 56 in October. And I think as I'm moving on with my experience, I think there are other things which are much more important and more valuable to me. And in a way, I think then I give the wrong message, and the wrong message gets through whether it's to my colleagues or to my organization, which again doesn't help me. So I think I've struggled with all of this in the last year, and so I think that's what I'm finding. You know, sometimes I find that quite difficult. Sometimes I manage it, and sometimes I find it very difficult.
So I'm hearing that each of these three values conflicts that you are describing are related to the inherent culture of academia if you want to progress.
Yeah, yeah.
So
exactly.
that if you want to go on and become associate professor or whatever,
yeah.
you have to publish this amount and you have to be seen to be doing these specific things. So to what extent are you committed to actually progressing in this career?
I think that's a really good question, and I always ask myself this. But at the same time, I think my mental frame is when I start something, I want to finish it. So I've now chosen this career, so I've got to give it a best shot. I started my doctorate and I was progressing really well, and then this whole year has been kind of I've put it on hold because of lots of things that's happened, mainly at work. And again, I think that hasn't helped the situation, because again, in terms of progressing, I felt that I haven't moved it, and some of it is probably me kind of not knowing how to kind of maneuver myself. And the other thing is like you're saying, how important it is to me. And I think, you know, I don't know the answer. It's a difficult one, but I think what I can say is I'm not one of those people who like to start anything and not finish it. I also like to finish things well and to the best of my ability. So for me, it wouldn't feel comfortable if I didn't give it a best shot. I didn't try to do the things I should be doing.
Okay. So let's put ourselves forward 9 years or 11 years now, isn't it, to retirement age?
Yeah.
So looking back, if you put yourself in that picture there and you look back over the next 11 years, will you, what will you be saying to yourself in the scenario that you have put everything into advancing and becoming better known and creating an international reputation for yourself? You know, what would you be saying to yourself, that was really worth it? And the other scenario is if you actually said, look, I just want to enjoy doing the things that I enjoy doing here. I can't be bothered with all this stuff. I'm just going to enjoy the job here. Would you be saying to yourself, oh, I wish I'd really put the effort into getting my doctorate in Dublin and doing this and doing that?
Yeah.
Which of these scenarios actually works for you?
I think somewhere in between.
Okay.
Yeah. So I really I want to try and get my doctorate done, because I feel I've started it and it's a process I would like to finish. And like when you asked me the question 11 years down the line, if I haven't done it, then I'll feel that I haven't, from my side, I should have made more effort and I should have got it done. And I think I am able to do it. And things have come in the way and I haven't, kind of managed to get over the barriers that's come my way. So yeah, I know that I would like to get it done. Whether I want to be internationally known, it doesn't really matter to me. So long as I'm doing interesting work till I retire. 11 years seems a long time off now. But that, so there are some things that I'd like to do, to be doing interesting work, maybe to get my doctorate through, but other things, I'm happy for other people to be pursuing it, and it doesn't have to be me.
So you've just put a boundary there around this, haven't you? So there are things that you want to do, that you have the inspiration to do, but accomplishing those can be actually narrowed down.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So if we just focus for the moment on the achievement of the doctorate, to what extent are the barriers that have happened barriers that were inevitable, or ones which you've allowed to happen?
I think one of the practicalities is that my topic was mentoring, because I had done that international e-mentoring, and that's where, in a way, it's not necessarily a topic that I went to, I kind of, it's just happened by accident, and I chose that as because it was a pragmatic decision. And and it was progressing really well, and I thought I was, in a way flying through the first year of it. And then things, the priorities have changed, the expectation of my role has changed a little bit, so it's not necessary for me to get a doctorate. That's the impression I'm getting, right or wrong, I don't know. And so I've allowed all that to get in the way of me moving it forward, and therefore it's created uncertainty of repositioning myself, my topic, and all of that. So
how much do you really want that doctorate?
I do want to get it done.
Okay.
Yeah, and this I've wasted 11 months or so because I have not found solution to getting over the barriers, and I think I've excused myself, to be honest.
So what are you telling yourself that's allowing these barriers to be there?
I think I keep on holding back to see, what is the topic I should be doing. I want to find a topic that will engage. I'm being sponsored by the university, so I think I've had the cautious approach, and the cautious approach has kind of delayed it, because I've thought, shall I go for this topic, or should I refine it more, or do I know what I'm doing? So I keep, thinking about it, and so I haven't pushed the limit. I have asked a few questions, and I haven't got very far, and I've just let things slip. So I probably need to really work on it and find a strategy that'll work.
I don't think I've met anybody who's done a doctorate who hasn't gone through a crisis around am I doing the right topic?
Yeah.
I'm sure there are, but everybody that I've spoken to, there are crisis periods throughout that. So what you're describing is not unusual. What is unusual is that you've allowed it to go for such a long time without actually resolving it.
Yeah.
So is it the topic that's holding you back, or is that an excuse for something else? So is it something else that's stopping you finding the right topic and saying, I'm going to go with that?
Yeah. I think in a way, I think it's a bit of a confidence thing, because of I was progressing and I didn't really expect some of the things that's happened in the way. I just feel my confidence has been knocked, and like as I said, because it's not, I don't want to be up there. I haven't prioritized it, and I've done other things, and I've let that. If it was something I have to get because I want to get that next position, or I want this title, or I want that, maybe I would have pushed it. But because I'm quite chilled out about that, I have allowed it probably to, go beyond, like you're saying, it's unusual to have done anything about it. Yeah, and I think it is a little bit of, yeah. And because I'm doing it within the organization, I think I found it very difficult. If I was working somewhere, doing the doctorate somewhere else, probably things would have been a lot simpler.
Okay. I could take this conversation in multiple ways now, but I'm going to make a leap of intuition. Would I be right in saying that you're something of a perfectionist?
I try my best.
Okay, so I take that as a yes. Again, the experience of people doing doctorates is that most of us want to do too much. We want it to be brilliant because it's our life's work, as it were. And we try and make it too big. So if you were to cut down your expectations of the doctorate, both in terms of what you put into it and in terms of what comes out of it, what would happen?
I think once I have got a definite outline of my topic, and I can get the agreement back within the university and the director of the postgraduate, the program, the D Prof, then once that's agreed, then I think then the rest of the thing is not that difficult, but it's just getting that done. So yeah, it's just getting the outline and getting that agreed is probably the next step.
And the thing that's preventing you from getting the outline done is
Because I've considered different options. Like you've said, you know, how tight do I want the topic to be? So I've moved away from the mentoring topic now to more, because I've been doing a leadership development program with Mental Health Trust, and we're doing quite a lot of action learning, which has got a lot of similarities with coaching and mentoring, which I've been doing, and it's been a really great experience, and we've had some really positive feedback. So I've started doing quite a lot of study and research around action learning facilitation. So that's an area that I'm currently working on. So I'll have 3 years of data on it by 2016. So that's the new area I'm looking at. And if I can get that agreed, then hopefully I can move forward.
Okay. Now you're saying that, and I still hear some tentativeness, some lack of confidence around it. But what I should be hearing from this is what a wonderful opportunity to do this, to make this happen. So what's causing this discontinuity? Why am I not hearing the enthusiasm that I should be?
I think it's because of the recent experience has made me a bit nervous about what reaction I would have, or those kind of things has made me feel. But you're right. I think what I'm hearing from you is that unless I am convinced about it myself, how can I convince somebody else? And I think that's something that I need to work on.
Yeah. So, do you have a support network?
I'm trying to create a support network, yeah. And by Friday, I'm hoping that I'll have a little bit more clarity on it.
Okay. So this will be your way of bringing that together?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So, Chandana.
Well, it was really useful you asking me those questions, because I think in a way it's helped me to see that it's about me. And so no matter what the barriers or the challenges are, only I can have the answers for it. So I need to get on and, kind of take the action and move on, because I think I wouldn't say I have wasted the 11 years, but it's been a learning experience, and maybe in a way just jumping into it without the preparation and the thinking through may have again stopped me after a while. So in a way, hopefully the 11 months has helped me to re-evaluate and give myself a bit of time to think about it. But I think your questions and having the conversation has really made me see if I think getting the doctorate is something I want to get before I retire, and I have to do something about it.
Yeah,
so that's
brilliant.
really helpful that you've made me
Well, if it's any consolation, it took me, I think, 8 years to get mine, simply because when I started, I just made it like that. It was so big. And I found that I had to develop all the questionnaires and I had to virtually start from scratch. I've got at least 2 full starts. And there were many times when I thought, is this worth doing? And yes, of course it was. It was, but the more you get into it, the more you learn.
Yes.
And you refine it and you refine it, and it's a different animal from whatever it was you thought it was going to be. And that's part of the learning process. And I think most people will go through a number of crises.
I think, David, you did question several times Chandana's energy and enthusiasm for the doctorate. So I recorded here that you said, and your body language, David, changed quite significantly. You said, how much do you really want the doctorate? And you leaned forward to Chandana, and you were moving quite a lot. And I think you were sort of testing really Chandana's sort of enthusiasm and drive and want to do the doctorate. And at that point, Chandana, you let out a big sigh. And I thought that was quite interesting, because then David went on to what's stopping you. So is it the doctorate, or is it the topic, or is it something else? And again, there was a big sigh that came from you. And the next thing you said is about, David said, I'm not hearing the enthusiasm. And then you let out a big sigh. And so I thought that was interesting that you did several times question that in different ways. And I thought to myself, are you not getting the answer? I didn't know whether you were looking for an answer there, or you intuitively thought perhaps there isn't the energy or the enthusiasm. And so that's why you were drilling down, because you asked a similar question, but in different ways.
Yeah, I didn't think the answer, I didn't know what the answer was, but I felt that the question was one that Chandana needed to address before she could make any further progress.
Yeah.
And what I wasn't hearing was, well, actually, no, I don't. I wasn't hearing any certainty, any clarity in the answer, and therefore, that's why I kept coming back to it, because I could see that we were all that the conversation wasn't going to go anywhere until we'd actually addressed that. Is it something that you really want? And I think we got that in the end, that there was some clarity. It is something that you want.
Because, several times, Chandana, you said things like, I should do this, I must do it, I have to do it. And I was wondering, now is that the language of somebody who really wants this, or is this the language of duty? Because, again, when you line that up with your culture, you know, I should be doing this, I need to think of other people, you know, it's not my preferred way of doing things. And I'm thinking, how much of this is what you want? What's driving you? And your passion for the subject against what is the expectation put on you. And I know it's quite tricky, the expectations, and you know there's all the organisational issues as well, which cloud it a little bit, because I think that sort of gets you into a box a bit. So that the whole thing about, okay, if I do it, where do I do it? How do I do it? What do I really, really want? What do I want? And I can understand completely where you're coming from. So, you know, I think sort of thinking about your own motivations in this are just really important.
Yeah, and it's passion for the subject and passion for getting the doctorate.
Yeah.
You know, you need both.
Yeah.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.